They thought Memphis had seen it all, but nothing prepared the city for this. In broad daylight, outside a luxury hotel, bullets ripped through the silence. Sayso P, a rising rapper with fire in his lyrics, collapsed on the pavement. Beside him, the legendary Sauce Walka screamed in pain, blood soaking his leg. And within minutes, the internet turned the scene into a battlefield. Because this wasn't random. This wasn't some stray shot. Witnesses are calling it a straight-up ambush, the kind designed to send a message. The headlines blew up, Sayso P dead. Sauce Walka shot. And just like that, the rap world was in chaos. Fans cried foul. Blogs called it revenge. Conspiracies? Out of control. But here's the real question. Who wanted Sayso gone? And why did Sauce Walka get caught in the crossfire? Was he the target? Or just a witness? And think about it. If you were standing there, watching your brother in music gunned down, knowing the streets were watching, knowing the killers might still be around, would you run? Or would you fight back? The internet couldn't believe it. And you won't either. Let's break it down, because this story is just getting started. When people talk about Memphis, they usually bring up two things: barbecue and rap legends. But now, the city's name is being whispered with something darker: betrayal, bullets, and blood in broad daylight. Sayso P wasn't just another up-and-coming rapper. He was the type of artist the streets claimed as their own: raw, unfiltered, fearless. He spoke the kind of truths that made enemies squirm and fans scream his lyrics like gospel. But the thing about telling the truth in rap? Sometimes the wrong ears are listening. Let's rewind. Sayso wasn't new to pressure. His career had been buzzing with underground heat for a minute. His last few drops? Street anthems that doubled as warnings. He'd even teased on Instagram Live just weeks before his death that people don't want me to win, but I'm still here. Nobody knew it at the time, but those words sounded more like foreshadowing than flexing. And then there's Sauce Walka, the Texas legend who turned flamboyance into a brand, known for his wild personality, diamond-studded drip, and the kind of charisma that made headlines whether he wanted them or not. Sauce wasn't just in Memphis by accident. Sources say he was there for a business move, rumors of a collab, maybe even a deal brewing behind closed doors. But here's the red flag that nobody wanted to talk about. Sayso and Sauce weren't exactly moving in silence. The night before the shooting, both were spotted at the Westin Hotel lobby with a crew. Eyewitnesses say the energy was tense. One hotel worker, who later spoke anonymously, swore he overheard heated voices. It sounded like money and betrayal. Someone kept saying, "You crossed the line." And when rappers start throwing around phrases like "cross the line," history tells us things never end with handshakes. Fake DMs allegedly circulated hours after Sayso's murder, supposedly between him and an unnamed rapper. One of the messages read, "I told you keep my name out your mouth. This ain't clout, this is real life." Another one, supposedly from Sayso's account, replied, "You not gon' do nothing. Stop hiding behind your boys." Whether those were real or fabricated, the timing was explosive. Fans took screenshots, blogs ran with it, and suddenly the narrative was clear. Sayso wasn't killed in random violence. He was hunted. But why would Sauce Walka, who was just visiting Memphis, end up in the middle of this mess? That's where the story takes a darker turn. According to one local source, Sayso had been wrapped up in street politics bigger than music. Rumors of debts, loyalty tests, and backdoor deals floated in the weeks leading up to his death. Some say Sauce was simply collateral damage, a big name in the wrong place at the wrong time. Others? They whisper Sauce himself might have been the intended target. Picture this. It's March 22, 2025. The Memphis sun is burning down, the Westin's glass windows gleaming in the daylight. Guests step out with shopping bags and luggage. But lurking nearby, surveillance footage later released by police shows a shadow, a young man later identified as Jaden Dandridge, 21 years old, pacing the sidewalk with his hoodie up. What's haunting is how calm he looked. No rush. No panic. Just waiting. Minutes later, Sayso P and Sauce Walka step outside. Cameras catch them laughing, completely unaware of what's coming. That's when Jaden moves. Witnesses say the sound of gunfire was so loud, people inside the hotel dove under tables. Sayso crumpled instantly, bleeding out on the pavement. Sauce Walka screamed as a bullet tore into his leg. The chaos was instant. Guests running, cars screeching, cops swarming the area in minutes. And the suspect? Gone like smoke. In the hours that followed, Memphis became a pressure cooker. Fans gathered outside the hospital where Sauce Walka was rushed for treatment. Sayso's name trended on Twitter, TikTok flooded with tribute edits, and conspiracy theories ran wild. Bro was set up. This wasn't random, they wanted Sauce too. Hotel cameras don't lie. Somebody inside made the call. And through all of it, one detail kept surfacing: this was no botched robbery. Police confirmed there was no attempt to take jewelry, no wallets missing, no chains snatched. The shooter came for blood, not money. But here's where things get even messier. In the middle of the grieving fans and outraged blogs, one so-called insider posted a screenshot of what he claimed was a group text from Sayso's circle. The message read, "It wasn't supposed to happen like this. Too many eyes. Now we all targets." Was it fake? Maybe. But the internet doesn't wait for confirmation. By nightfall, names of other rappers started being thrown into the mix. People dug up old beefs, old lyrics, even old interviews where Sayso hinted that snakes were close to him. And just like that, the narrative shifted again. Sayso's murder wasn't just a tragedy. It was a message. But whose message? That's the million-dollar question. Sauce Walka, despite being shot, reportedly told his people, "This ain't over." His cryptic words only fueled the speculation that whatever this was, it wasn't finished. Because here's the scary truth about ambushes like this. They don't end with one body. They're warnings. They're openings to a bigger war. And the streets? They know it. One fan wrote under Sayso's last Instagram post, "He told us he was ready for war. We just didn't think it'd come this soon." But if this was war, then Memphis had just seen the first shot fired. When the first reports hit the blogs, it was chaos. TMZ-style headlines, YouTube channels pumping out exclusive videos, Instagram flooded with RIP posts. But buried in the noise were whispers. Whispers that suggested Sayso P's murder wasn't just another tragedy in hip-hop. It was a calculated hit, and Sauce Walka being shot? That was no accident. Let's start with the so-called leaked footage. They don't end with one body. They're warnings. They're openings to a bigger war. And the streets? They know it. One fan wrote under Sayso's last Instagram post, "He told us he was ready for war. We just didn't think it'd come this soon." But if this was war, then Memphis had just seen the first shot fired. When the first reports hit the blogs, it was chaos. TMZ-style headlines, YouTube channels pumping out exclusive videos, Instagram flooded with RIP posts. But buried in the noise were whispers. Whispers that suggested Sayso P's murder wasn't just another tragedy in hip-hop. It was a calculated hit, and Sauce Walka being shot? That was no accident. Let's start with the so-called leaked footage. Just hours after the police released blurry surveillance of the suspect, another video popped up online, this time from someone claiming to be inside the hotel. The clip was grainy, filmed on a phone through a lobby window, but the audio? Crystal clear. You could hear the shots, the screams, and most chilling of all, someone yelling, "He told y'all not to play with him." Who was that voice? Nobody knows. But fans were quick to say it wasn't a random bystander. It sounded like someone who knew the shooter. And then came the DMs. Screenshots started circulating of an exchange allegedly between Sayso P and a rival rapper whose name I won't even say, because if it's true, it's bigger than we think. The messages read like pure venom. Sayso, if you got something to say it to my face. Rival, Memphis not big enough for both of us. Watch your back. Sayso, try me. You'll regret it. Were they real? Maybe. Or maybe they were cooked up to stir the pot. But here's the problem. In today's world, perception is everything. And once fans saw those messages, the narrative was set. Sayso's death wasn't random. It was personal. Blogs jumped on it. One hip-hop gossip page posted, "Street beef turns deadly in Memphis." Sayso knew it was coming. Another page added fuel. Sauce Walka might have been the real target. And speaking of Sauce Walka, let's not forget, the man was shot. Laid up in a Memphis hospital bed, but still alive. And according to someone close to his camp, he was furious. One insider claimed Sauce told his team, "This wasn't no robbery. They tried to take us both out." Somebody gave the drop. Think about that for a second. Somebody gave the drop. That means the shooter knew exactly where they were, exactly when they'd be stepping outside, and exactly who was with them. That's not coincidence. That's intel. And where does intel come from? Inside the circle. The internet ran with that theory like wildfire. Threads popped up on Reddit, Twitter blew up with hashtags, fans accusing everyone from Sayso's crew to Sauce's entourage of betrayal. One viral tweet read, "It's always the ones closest to you. Watch your friends harder than your enemies." But here's where the scandal gets darker. Police identified the suspect as Jaden Dandridge, a 21-year-old with no major criminal record but known to run with certain Memphis crews. Now, how does a young guy with no history suddenly pop up in the middle of a high-profile murder involving two rappers? Rumors say he wasn't acting alone. One blogger swore they saw court documents hinting at two additional suspects still at large. Another claimed Jaden wasn't the triggerman at all, but the fall guy, a pawn to protect bigger names. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room: money. Several insiders said Sayso had a major deal on the table. Not just a record contract, a distribution deal that could have made him financially independent. Imagine what that means for a rapper who built his career off the streets. Independence equals power. And power? It makes enemies. One fake leaked contract even circulated online, showing Sayso supposedly turning down a deal linked to a major label. Fans went wild with it. He said no, and they said he gotta go. Now whether that document was real or fake doesn't even matter anymore. Because once the public believes a murder might be tied to the industry, oh, it's game over. Meanwhile, Sauce Walka's name was dragged deeper into the mess. Old clips resurfaced of him bragging about never needing industry backing, about always moving with his team. Some fans twisted those words into proof that Sauce was a marked man too, that maybe he was shot as a warning. One YouTube commentator even said, "They missed Sauce." That bullet to the leg was a message: stay out of it. And as if things weren't already messy enough, a supposed insider text leaked showing someone claiming the shooter was hired. The text read, 20 bands for the job. Make it look personal. No chains. Bro, if that's true, we're not talking about random violence anymore. We're talking about a hit job. But here's the kicker. As Sauce recovered, his people hinted he might not stay silent. This ain't over, they said. Names about to come out. That single statement shook the internet, because if Sauce points fingers, this could blow the lid off a bigger conspiracy. And just when fans thought they'd processed all of that, another name started floating around. A Memphis rapper, known for his long-standing beef with Sayso, suddenly deactivated his social media the night of the murder. Coincidence? Maybe. But fans immediately tied him to the case, with one post racking up 200K likes saying, "If you innocent, why you disappear?" This isn't just a street beef anymore. This is turning into a full-on scandal, with rappers, labels, and maybe even insiders tied up in bloodshed. And the scariest part? We've only seen the beginning. Because if Sayso P's murder was truly a message, the question becomes, message from who? And to who? And when the streets finally connect the dots, Memphis won't be the only city trembling. But just when we thought it couldn't get any worse, another name came up. The aftermath was nothing short of a war zone. Not just in Memphis, but across the entire rap industry. Because Sayso P's murder wasn't just about one man's life ending, it was about the chain reaction that followed. Let's start with the streets. Within 24 hours of the ambush, murals for Sayso started going up across Memphis. Candles lit, fans crying, hashtags trending. But alongside the tributes came threats. Anonymous accounts posted eerie warnings. This blood ain't the last. Retaliation coming. And retaliation did come, just not in the way people expected. A week later, 2 cars were shot up in South Memphis. No fatalities, but the timing? Way too suspicious. Locals whispered it was connected. A message sent back to whoever ordered the hit on Sayso. But here's the kicker. Police reports claimed one of the cars belonged to a man loosely tied to Sauce Walka's camp. Coincidence? Or was someone already playing chess while the rest of us thought it was checkers? Meanwhile, Sauce Walka's recovery wasn't just physical. Mentally, the man was spiraling. Close friends said he replayed the ambush over and over, blaming himself for not seeing it coming. One insider told a blog, Sauce feels like they wanted him dead just as much as Sayso. He keeps saying, "If I was 1 second slower, I wouldn't be here." Imagine that guilt. Surviving, but knowing you might have been the true target. Then came the industry's silence. Major labels? Quiet. Rappers who once posed with Sayso? Nowhere to be found. It was as if the whole industry decided to mute itself overnight. And when things go that silent, you know power players are making moves behind the curtain. Leaked audio, allegedly from a private conference call, made the rounds online. In it, voices can be heard discussing damage control and keeping names out the press. Were they executives? Lawyers? Nobody knows. But one line sent chills: "If Sauce talks, we're all exposed." Exposed to what? That's the million-dollar question. And here's where the story takes a sinister turn. Remember the suspect, Jaden Dandridge? Well, reports surfaced that his legal defense was suddenly being funded by a mysterious anonymous donor. Court filings showed high-powered attorneys stepping in, lawyers way out of reach for a 21-year-old from the streets. So let's do the math. A kid gets charged with first-degree murder, and suddenly he's backed by lawyers who usually defend CEOs? That's not street justice. That's money talking. Which raises the obvious question: who's protecting Jaden, and why? Meanwhile, Sauce Walka dropped his own cryptic message online. From his hospital bed, he posted a picture of his bandaged leg with the caption, "Not the first time they tried me. Won't be the last. But I'm still here." Fans went wild. Some praised him as a survivor. Others accused him of knowing more than he was saying. One viral comment read, "If you know who did it, say it. Don't let Sayso's name go out like this." But Sauce stayed quiet after that. Too quiet. And then, the twist nobody expected. A local Memphis journalist leaked that Sayso P had been working on a documentary before his death. A documentary that reportedly detailed corruption in the rap industry, street politics, and dirty money tied to major players. Sources claim he was ready to drop names. If that's true, then Sayso's murder wasn't just personal. It was preventative. A silencing before the truth could go public. Theories exploded. Sayso was killed because of what he was about to expose. Sauce was shot to send a message: stay quiet or end up next. A Jaden Dandridge isn't the killer, just the scapegoat covering up for someone powerful. And here's the thing, none of those theories sound crazier than the official story. As the days turned into weeks, fans noticed something strange. The police investigation seemed stuck. No updates. No new arrests. Just silence. And in that silence, rumors grew louder than facts. Bloggers claimed settlements were being offered to families connected to the case. Whispered payouts designed to keep certain lawsuits from reaching the courts. It sounded unbelievable, but in an industry where money buries more than just secrets, anything's possible. Sauce's sister even hinted at it in a live stream, saying, "Y'all don't understand. This goes way deeper than Memphis. My brother's not safe, and they know it." But the darkest twist? An anonymous post surfaced on an underground forum, allegedly from someone connected to the shooter. The post read, "This wasn't for Sayso. He was collateral." The message was for Sauce. He knows why. Collateral. Let that sink in. If Sayso was just collateral, that means the real target was Sauce Walka all along. Which begs the question, what did Sauce do, or what does he know, that someone was willing to risk murder in broad daylight to silence him? And here's where things stand today. Sayso P is gone, his family demanding justice. Sauce Walka, alive but scarred, teetering on the edge of speaking out, or staying silent forever. Jaden Dandridge, locked up but backed by mysterious money. And a rap industry doing everything it can to make sure this story disappears. But let's be honest, stories like this never disappear. They rot, they fester, and then they explode again when you least expect it. And maybe that's why fans can't let go of the case. Because deep down, everyone feels it, this wasn't just a murder. This was a message. A message written in blood, whispered in silence, and sealed with a bullet in broad daylight. So where does that leave us? With more questions than answers. With a city on edge. With an industry pretending it's business as usual while shadows move behind the scenes. And most haunting of all, with Sauce Walka staring down a truth so dangerous, Speaking it out loud could end him faster than any bullet ever could. Because in Memphis, the streets never forget. And silence? Silence has a price. So here we are. A young rapper dead, another wounded, and a city shaken to its core. But let's not kid ourselves. This story is nowhere near finished. Too many secrets, too much money, and way too many names floating in the shadows for this case to simply close with a single suspect in custody. Because if Sayso P's murder really was a warning, then who was pulling the strings? And if Sauce Walka was the real target, what does he know that's dangerous enough to spark an ambush in broad daylight? The internet is already on fire with theories, leaked messages, and fan breakdowns. Some say it's street politics. Some swear it's industry cover-ups. Others believe Sayso was silenced for digging too close to the truth. But the one thing everyone agrees on? This isn't the end. It's the beginning of a much darker story. What do you think? Was Sayso's murder a hit, a warning, or something even deeper? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I promise you, we're reading every word. Hit that like button, subscribe to Spillover, and ring the bell, because trust me, the next twist is already on its way, and you don't want to miss it.